If you were an American living in New Mexico in July 1947, flying saucers were most likely not even a consideration in your daily life. World War II would have been fresh on your mind, and news of a site being cleared in New York City to erect the headquarters for the United Nations would perhaps be more relevant. People were looking for a general sense of peace and ease, a new world devoid of bullets and headed for prosperity. So naturally, the shock must have been incredible on the 8th of July when people opened the Roswell Daily Record and read RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Their first thoughts would have been filled with panic and confusion. The article detailed how witnesses stated that they saw flying saucer-shaped crafts going speeds of 400 and 500 miles per hour. They even explained how the military seemed to mirror their own confusion and that, under the authority of Major J.A. Marcel, a saucer had been recovered with hopes that its secrets would be found out. Could America's enemies in the world have created some sort of wonder weapon that could be used against the nation? Or even more extraordinarily, could some sort of alien civilization have taken notice of us and our newly developed nuclear arms, and were here to interfere? Generally speaking, Americans may have asked themselves, are we going to have to fight someone again? A slew of confusing reports and investigations then followed, which seemingly diffused the entire situation. To many at the time, it would have been a huge relief to believe that the whole incident at Roswell was all some sort of misunderstanding, just a weather balloon or something else banal. Yet it did not matter. Pandora's box had just opened, and out of it came the flying saucer, with their extraterrestrial inhabitants implanting themselves firmly in the modern cultural zeitgeist as the UFO, the unidentified flying object. Since then, alien phenomena has been heavily contentious, never proven nor disproven. If extraterrestrials are real and have been visiting Earth, then it is completely understandable why it was a very dangerous reality for the public to take into account the middle of the 20th century. The political and religious ramifications would have been immeasurably severe. Although not democratic and arguably immoral, secrecy could be an understandable expedient in a war-weary world. However, human nature's appetite for truth does not die out because of what's convenient. It becomes ravenous. And when it comes to the phenomena of extraterrestrials, people have allegedly died in their pursuit. In the 21st century, we thus stand atop a mountain of evidence gathered over decades, much of which seems to be similar to what happened at Roswell. Even the government's reaction and explanations seem to be the same, just more streamlined and efficiently delivered, with weather balloons still featuring as a favourite artifact of dismissal. Yet, the reports continue. The testimonies keep coming in, and there are more witnesses every single day. In fact, chances are that right now, somewhere, someone in the world is witnessing what they believe to be a UFO. With evidence exponentially increasing, the veil of secrecy seems to be thinning. Indeed, we now have videos, some of which are verified by government agencies around the world, which purport to show UFOs or UAPs, the more formal term which means unidentified aerial phenomena. Are decades of lies, denials, and gaslighting thus about to come to an end? Is disclosure finally here? And if so, what will become of us in this new cosmically aware age? My name is Laura, and you are watching The Paranormal Scholar. In 2017, something very odd was captured on camera flying over a military base in Iraq. The alleged UAP was recorded using an aerostat, a blimp-like craft equipped with cameras and other sensors to look out for potential threats over the base. Unlike the traditional flying saucer, this UAP has been described, rather sensationally, as looking like a jellyfish. This footage was released by Jeremy Corbell in 2024, and has even been corroborated by United States Marine Corps veteran Michael Sinkowski. Sinkowski stated in an interview that the jellyfish UAP became a sort of ghost story at the base. Apparently, even personnel at the base were confused. It wasn't like we were scrambling to our defensive positions or anything like that, explains Sinkowski. They just watched it and waited to see what it would do. As odd as this jellyfish UAP may seem, it is not without precedent. On the 22nd of July 1975, in the Cambrian Mountains of Wales, a young boy allegedly witnessed two entities inside a craft, which looked like massive pieces of jelly, and in his case seemed to change shape in front of his very eyes. Then, on the 20th of September 1977, Soviet-Russian newspapers reported a large star UAP which hovered over a town near St. Petersburg, with extremely fine beams coming out of it, which gave it the impression of looking like an illuminated jellyfish. After bathing the entire town in light, it morphed into a ball and then headed off before disappearing, in a similar manner to the Iraqi base incident over Lake Waniga. A nearby meteorological observatory even recorded the event, with employees there testifying to newspapers that they had never before seen anything similar. Discussion of UAP videos, especially those which come from official sources like the United States Marine Corps, showing aerial anomalies active around sensitive sites, including nuclear facilities and military bases, naturally leads to questions like, if these crafts are operated by extraterrestrial forces, why are they so interested in these locations? The most obvious answer is that, since mankind rapidly expanded their military capabilities in the 20th century, alien beings are concerned about our ability to moderate ourselves and continue on as reliable stewards of Earth. In short, humans having weapons like the nuclear bomb makes the rest of the universe rather nervous. And it is not difficult to understand this line of argument. Warfare, especially the type which involves nuclear and other advanced weaponry, has the potential to utterly destroy natural ecosystems, much like an illness ravages a living body. Thus, it may be that these crafts are there to serve as protectors of the planet, watching and ready, if required, to intervene and quite possibly, as we have discussed in other cases, shut down nuclear weapons before they are able to bring about destruction. After all, nature does work in this way, with there being genes, for example, that control aging by intervening whenever there is a problem to send out resources in order to shield us from deterioration and disease. We can even take supplements in order to help boost these defense systems. And so, at this point, if you will please allow a brief moment for me to thank Black Forest Supplements and introduce you to NMN in the best way that I can, through the words of the doctor who discovered it, Dr. David Sinclair, when he was interviewed by Joe Rogan.
What is NMN?
Good question. So, let me take a quick step back.
Sure.
So about 20 years ago, Lenny Guarente and a team of us at MIT discovered a set of genes that controls aging in yeast cells. And those genes are called sirtuins, and there are 7 of them in our bodies, 5 in yeast. And what they do is they protect all organisms on the planet, plants, bacteria, humans, from deterioration and disease. They're like the Pentagon. They sense when we're hungry, sense when we're exercising, and they send out the troops to defend us.
So by taking NMN as a supplement every morning, you boost production of NAD+ molecules to give you improved energy, weight management, endurance and strength, and anti-aging. For me personally, it's improved my energy levels. There are many videos on YouTube of people discussing how taking NMN for 1 or 2 years has resulted in verifiable positive changes to their bodies, such as what can be detected in blood tests. Everyone who takes it talks about feeling better, feeling stronger, and having more energy. And it is important for everyone, men and women, so that we can be at our best, be healthy, be mentally aware, caring for and loving those around us. And so, if that sounds like something you are interested in, please check out Black Forest Supplements and NMN. Black Forest NMN is the most bioavailable form made in the USA to kickstart your body into producing more of those protective NAD+ molecules which fire up all those abilities that you used to have when you were 16 or 18 years old and don't have anymore because you've aged. helping to turn back the clock on poor weight, wrinkles, and creaky knuckles. So go ahead and click my exclusive link down below. I really appreciate your support and hope that you'll be as pleasantly surprised as I have been. Thank you to Black Forest Supplements and to you for watching. Now, on to the next UFO video. In the late 2010s, General Ricardo Bermudez, director of the Chilean government's agency responsible for investigating UAPs, released to the public a video of what he considered to be a genuine UAP. He stated to the press, "We do not know what it is, but we do know what it was not," and that comprised a very long list of known aircraft. The footage was captured on the 11th of November 2014 on a routine patrol mission by a military helicopter equipped with an infrared camera. Dates and times were meticulously recorded during this encounter. At 1:52, the helicopter was traveling at 152 miles per hour, filming the terrain, when one of the technicians noticed a strange object flying to the left of them, over the ocean and traveling around the same speed. Turning their camera towards it, they filmed the unidentified aerial phenomena for 9 minutes and 12 seconds. Immediately, they contacted 2 nearby radar stations to help verify the object, but both were unable to pick it up on their screens, despite easily tracking the helicopter. Following protocol, those on board the helicopter tried to communicate with the object using multinational civilian bandwidth radio, but received no reply. Unusually amongst UAP encounters, the cameras picked up something very hot being ejected from the same craft. The technicians described this as occurring in 2 instances, and thought the material was some sort of gas or liquid. Air Force analysis of the footage confirms that the footage was genuine and unaltered, and that they filmed a very real object that has control in its movements. Alberto Vergaro, the then lead analyst at the Air Force Photogrammetric Department, concluded that the object has all the characteristics to be classified as an unidentified aerial phenomenon. For over 2 years, this footage was investigated by Chilean government officials, engineers, and scientists, who even involved the French anomalous research agency GIPAN to no definitive conclusion. The best explanation that has been given was that the trained military specialists misidentified a commercial jet plane and that it was just dumping waste. A flawed explanation, as the plume ejected was in itself anomalous, as it could not be seen with the naked eye but only through infrared camera. Not to mention that multiple radar stations should have picked up a conventional aircraft. And the technicians even checked for an airline transponder signal on their own onboard radar, but there was none. Nowhere were the technicians criticized for their actions, and were in fact commended for following their training perfectly. Thus, what exactly is flying in the sky in this footage remains a mystery to this day. In December 2018, Mount Etna erupted in Sicily, sending volcanic plumes up in the air that exceeded 1,000 degrees centigrade. It was a heat beyond imagining that few things can survive. Yet, in the midst of the eruption, an infrared camera on a US Air Force platform filmed a strange object flying seemingly through the volcanic plume with ease. The round saucer-shaped UAP seemed to fly without a care for the heat or gravity through one of Earth's most extreme environments. United States government officials alleged to have heavily analysed the footage and concluded with moderate confidence that atmospheric conditions near the volcano distorted the footage and made it look like a craft had passed through the incredibly hot plume, when in fact it was 170 kilometers away. Also, they determined that it was just a balloon, passing by, travelling with the wind. Perhaps this was the case, but there is much to question. For one thing, why does it always seem to be a balloon, and how do we know that it was travelling with the wind? Also, the balloon seems to be very directed and controlled without any erratic movements that could be expected from such a thing. Not to mention, it looks like and moves in the same way that every flying saucer ever reported seems to do. Also, it must be emphasized that it is very difficult to gauge distances with an infrared camera. Heat signatures can be misleading and lead to miscalculations. Thus, if they are wrong and the balloon was closer to the volcano than they estimate, then in all likelihood it would have exploded or at the very least been heavily deformed. We see none of that in the footage. Indeed, the object does not appear to be stressed in any way by the environment that it is in. Indeed, UAPs seem to be quite interested in volcanoes, with them having a history of being witnessed near to them. Off the coast of San Diego, the USS Omaha and up to 8 other ships apparently endured a swarm of UFOs come around them in July 2019. Filmmaker and journalist Jeremy Corbell stated that within a circumference of 100 miles, there was an estimated 50 to 100 contacts with naval ships. On the 15th in particular, the USS Omaha seemed to have garnered special attention as unknown spherical objects surrounded the ship. The crew recorded as many as 14 at one time on their ship's radar. Corbell was able to acquire this radar footage and share it with the public. The Omaha features in the center of the footage. The government, in time, acknowledged this incident and declassified further footage captured on the night at around 11 p.m. on the USS Omaha's infrared camera. Notice that the infrared has recorded the object as being nearly completely black, which means that it is colder than the ocean below. This is highly abnormal. Also, the LRF armed no return on the top right-hand corner indicates that the laser range finder is not working. Fascinatingly, the UAP seems to have seamlessly submerged into the ocean without incurring any damage whatsoever or even splashing. There are no known aircraft in any military arsenal which is able to submerge in the water without being destroyed. The only craft which comes close is China's submarine drone, which can land in the water and allegedly submerge within 5 seconds. But it still uses a heated propulsion system to move around, and it does indeed splash, unlike the UAP witnessed near the Omaha. The Navy took the matter seriously at the time, and even sent out a submarine to the area where the UAP submerged. To everyone's astonishment, they found no wreckage or anything on its radar. The craft seemed to have just miraculously vanished into the vastness of the sea. Nellis Air Force Base has long been a site of intense military activity and great advancements. Top secret installations like Area 51 and the Tonopah Test Range are nearby, so this is a base accustomed to seeing the most incredible feats of aerial arms mankind has ever produced. Yet, in 1995, military personnel captured something on camera which had even them exclaiming, "I don't know what the hell that is." This is filmed using the highest military-grade camera systems for the time, which were designed to track high-speed objects. What it filmed is not like a typical flying saucer. It has an irregular shape, pulsating and morphing rather than maintaining a fixed structure. The audio is quite grainy, but transcripts are available. For many who have extensively studied this video, the military operators display real confusion as they are witnessing the UAP, emotion which was palpable when they said things like, "Can't get a result on this thing," and "It's weird looking." Whilst analysing the footage in real time, the only thing that they could ascertain was where it came from, and that was way down there. There being an underground nuclear testing facility. It is no exaggeration to state that this footage stands as one of the most probable recordings of a UAP ever made. It was allegedly leaked by employees of a defense contractor that worked at the base through intermediaries. US government officials and Nellis Air Force Base personnel never commented on the video in any capacity, whether to deny or confirm it. They've simply ignored it. This, in itself, is highly unusual, as during that time in particular, the government was always very eager to debunk or explain away such incidents. Their uncharacteristic silence on a video clearly filmed at a military base is extraordinary. When trying to question this video's veracity, one of the best theories is that it was a top-secret test. However, it has to be considered that strict protocols are put in place by the military before any such event to help dispel any confusion that might happen, especially by those operating cameras. And so why the visceral, emotional and confused responses by those who were operating cameras at the time? Perhaps, however, it was a test by higher military command on their own personnel. Such a thing, after all, is not without precedent. The US military has historically flown top-secret stealth aircraft in front of their radar operators without them knowing, to test their efficiency. Yet, to date, there has been no US aircraft with a fluid morphing structure that can accelerate at an estimated 430 miles per hour per second. To put that into perspective, a modern-day hypersonic missile might theoretically reach those speeds, but any sort of controlled aircraft would probably be destroyed by the G-forces incurred. Yet again, the silence of the authorities must be emphasized. There has been no known debrief. Indeed, it is probable that this was leaked because military personnel wanted to know what it was, and they were getting no answers. The only explanation that can be given for this object is that it was fabricated by officials or their associates for some sort of psychological warfare operation that is too clever to be understood. If this footage is as genuine as it appears to be, then what you are looking at is a craft whose structure is unlike anything mankind has ever produced. Travels at speeds which are impossible to achieve 30 years later by modern aircraft, and was witnessed and recorded by trained military personnel with their own cameras. At this moment, you may very well be looking at something from another world, something which we have absolutely no explanation for. True, unidentified aerial phenomena. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the paranormal, or why not visit us in person at Rowton's Museum of the Paranormal and Spirituality in Carmarthen. We are now open from 10 AM to 4 PM for regular day visitors every Thursday to Sunday, and we also host seance evenings, paranormal investigations, and other special events. Finally, if you cannot wait until my next video, why not watch the one suggested on screen now? Until next time,